A little more than 1 week away from the 2025 NFL Draft, the day we've all been waiting for, and the mock drafts are in full swing. 3, 4, 5 round, even some 7 round mock drafts are coming out. What are some of those mock drafts? Tell us about the Jets draft plans. Field Yates and Mel Kiper Jr. of ESPN released a highly intriguing mock the other day that could detail the Jets' plans, specifically in the 3rd round of the draft. A lot to get into, and we'll break down the latest surrounding the Jets and much more. It's all coming up here on a Wednesday edition of NY Flight Jets Talk with our guy Matt O'Leary joining us here in his weekly spot. Let's do it.
Jets, Jets, let's go.
Jets wide receiver Wesley Walker. Wesley, how you doing today? ESPN writer Mr. Rich Cimini, Jets reporter for The Athletic, Mr. Zach Rosenblatt, Hall of Famer and Jets legend Mr. Marty Lyons.
Your host, Connor Law.
What is going on, everyone? Hello, and welcome back here to another edition of NY Flight Jets Talk. Appreciate you all tuning in here on this Wednesday, April 16, 2025. Make sure you smash the like button and hit subscribe. Completely free. Helps us grow significantly. The paid way help us grow, helps us just as much. You can get into our membership raffle. Every membership gifted or $2.99 super chat will get you a raffle entry. Prize we're giving away this month included Don Maynard signed photo, Joe Klecko signed helmet, Joe Namath Super Bowl III replica ring, CJ Mosley signed jersey, a free item from our merch store, channel emoji. Make sure you're getting on that if you haven't already. More entries you have, the higher chance you have to win. Every $2.99 super chat and every gift or every gifted membership will get you an entry. Appreciate all your support as always. But joining me right now here in his weekly spot on the show, fellow Jets content creator, the one, the only, Matt O'Leary. Kind enough to grace us with his presence here on the show every single Wednesday. And Matt, I mean, tough game for the Mets, tough past 2 games for our Mets. I mean, we saw an umpire nearly get killed today. I just saw an ESPN notification that he's okay and he's coherent at the hospital. The team loses in extra innings, and they continue to disappoint us throughout this road series in Minnesota.
Yeah, it seems that way. Tough couple games in a row for the Mets there, but for our Jets, we're inching so much closer to the NFL draft, and we're almost in the home stretch here.
Yeah, Matt, I mean, before we get into everything, I just want to, I just want you to share. I know you've been working on something for a long time. It's officially live and kind of a contest, right, with the Jets draft picks, and let everyone know what you've been working on, kind of an app type thing, and how people could enter into this Jets draft contest, excuse me.
Yeah, so I'm running a draft contest through an app or a website for now, but eventually will be an app, People Guess. So if you're interested in signing up, you can head over to my YouTube channel. It's in my community tab, the link to sign up, peopleguess.com/Matt O'Leary _Jets. But I know that's a mouthful. So if you want to just go over to the community tab, it's linked there. But yeah, 9 questions, just trying to find out who the smartest Jets fan on the internet is. That's the goal of this app, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Who knows, Matt? Someone might put Ryan Fitzgerald or Andres Borgales, and they might hit. So who knows where this team's going, Matt? I'm going to dig into a report with you, though, first from ESPN's Rich Cimini, who pretty much made it clear the Jets have narrowed their list down to the number 7 overall pick to 3 top players. Tyler Warren, Armand Membu. Those have been the 2 front runners all along. We know those names very well. We all know you're a big Tyler Warren fan. I want to get your thoughts on Will Campbell. This is someone who's very intriguing, for the Jets, given the fact that highly touted 5-star recruit coming out of college, came in right away, was a freshman at LSU, made a significant impact. But the catch here is he only has experience at left tackle. He has no experience on the right side of the line, and the Jets are looking for a right tackle. They have their left tackle in Olu Fashanu. Let's say the Jets take Will Campbell with the number 7 overall pick. Matt, what's your reaction? Happy, sad, neutral? Where are you if the Jets do make that pick?
If they do make that pick, I would assume that Elijah Vera Tucker is going to play tackle, because I think I like Will Campbell. I don't want to make this seem like I don't think Will Campbell's a good player. I do think that he has a chance to be successful at the next level. I just think he's going to play guard. The arm length concerns, I think, are legitimate. He would be an incredible outlier if he did play tackle. There's just guys don't have that body type that play the position. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but I would be a little bit nervous if their plan is to play him, at right tackle this year, a position that he hasn't played. He played left tackle in the SEC and granted did have a lot of success, but making that jump up in competition from, college football to the pros, you need every little advantage that you can get. And I would just be nervous about that being their plan A, and would think that eventually he'd likely have to play guard.
100%. And that's the same exact thought process I had, Matt. But then what I thought to myself is, do you want to use the number 7 overall pick on a guard? Even if they're an all-pro guard, they're a top guard in the league. I don't want to use the number 7 overall pick on a guard, especially when you have to I don't consider right tackle out of position for Elijah Vera Tucker because he's played 4 of the 5 spots on the offensive line, but it isn't where I'd like him. And you know what that means, Matt? If the Jets play AVT at right tackle, he's entering a contract year. Well, if they want to extend him, they're going to have to pay him like a premier right tackle compared to a premier guard. The price tag is far more hefty when it comes to paying a premier tackle to a premier guard. So there's the price that comes with it, the overall experience, the overall product on the field. For me, I'm a no on Will Campbell Jr. I really think it's going to be a toss-up between Armand Membou and Tyler Warren. I do believe, though, Armand Membou will be selected at number 7 overall. And, Matt, that's what Field Yates and Mel Kiper Jr. had the Jets doing with this number 7 overall pick in their latest mock draft. But 2 other rounds I want to get into. First pick at number 42, they have the Jets selecting Miami tight end Elijah Arroyo, someone who got off to a tough start to his college career, dealt with a ton of injuries, and then comes back 2024 with Cam Ward and puts that pieces together an incredible breakout season during his senior season. Elijah Arroyo, second round, is that a little too rich for you?
No, I think if you're looking at second round tight ends, both he and Mason Taylor are guys who are going to get brought up a lot. I like Mason Taylor more than Elijah Arroyo, so that would be my selection. But it makes sense, right? Going from offensive tackle in round 1, then trying to find your tight end in round 2. Their preference seems to be Elijah Arroyo. That's fine, but I don't mind that approach if that's what the Jets do, taking the tackle and then trying to find the tight end.
Yeah, 100%. And my thought process, though, Matt, is if you don't take Tyler Warren at 7, I want to wait until the 3rd round to get a tight end. I don't think the overall value, given the other positions on the board, I would much rather go Armand Membou and Jaden Higgins, or Armand Membou and Jack Besh, over Armand Membou and Elijah Arroyo, or Membou and Taylor. I just think I like the wide receivers when it comes to, picking the crop in the 2nd round over the tight ends from an overall value perspective. I think you can even do something. A pairing I really like is Harold Fannin Jr. In the 4th round, and then you get Jackson Hawes in the 6th. You get your big-bodied receiver when you really think about it in Fannin, and then you get your blocker who you could just throw in 12 personnel and is going to be just a game changer for you overall. And Matt, the Jets hosted Mason Taylor of Michigan for a top 30 visit defensive tackle, someone I know you really, really like. How do you think he could potentially fit with the Jets? Because I think that's going to be a really, really interesting topic when it comes to the Jets potentially selecting Graham if he's still on the board.
I do think he would be a fit. I know that some people think he's too similar to Quinnen Williams, but I just saw him, come into Michigan and produce right away as an 18-year-old in strong competition, and that really impressed me. And then he's been, getting better year over year. I thought his pass rushing was probably his best season this past year in 2024. Guy who's played in a lot of big games and has stood out in those big games as a positive. And I think if the Jets decide, hey, we want to build through the trenches, the interior defensive line is one of our weaker positions once we get past Quinnen Williams. It's hard because there's so many other spots, like we've talked about, offensive tackle and tight end and wide receiver, where if you take a guy like Mason Graham, you then have to push each one of those positions off another round. And I get it when fans get frustrated by that. But Mason Graham, I think, is a unique player, probably the only defensive guy that I'd be really, really, truly happy with at pick number 7.
Matt, if the Jets didn't have Quinnen Williams on the roster, Mason Graham would be my pick without a doubt. It just concerns me, kind of for the reason you listed there. It concerns me that you want to have someone who's under 300 pounds playing next to Quinnen. I really don't want 2 3 techs next to each other. I think the ideal scenario for filling that void for me, I think, is looking to a guy like Tyleik Williams in the second round, someone who's 331 pounds, is a one tech for you. I think the biggest thing is getting a one tech next to Quentin Williams, not another three tech, two guys with similar skill sets on the inside. Overall, that's a massive concern for me. But sticking with the defensive players from Michigan, Matt, someone who Jet fans love, in Nick Wright of Fox Sports, mocked Will Johnson of Michigan to the Jets with the number 7 overall pick, which is really, really interesting because we heard Johnson's name to the Jets potentially being linked in like January, like right before the season was about to end, a little after the season ended. Like Johnson may be a fit for the Jets. This is someone who, before he suffered turf toe and a minor shoulder injury last season, was on pace for a career season, had 2 pick sixes through 6 games for Michigan this past season. Someone who's a really, really solid cornerback. Matt, what is your reaction if the Jets do take Will Johnson and go the highly unlikely route?
I would be really surprised, right? And not because I don't think Will Johnson's worth going in the top half of the first round, let's say, but because they just spent, money in free agency to bring in Brandon Stevens to be your number 2 corner. And then you're going to use corner on the pick 7th overall. Not that I want this to happen, but my mind would go, are they moving on from Sauce Gardner here? Or why are you taking a corner in the first round after you just signed somebody and you have Michael Carter, who you paid last offseason? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Corner is not a position that I would really be stressing about in this draft. Could they use some more depth at the position? Yes, but that's way, way down on the pecking order when you consider the offensive line and tight end and wide receiver and defensive line and linebacker and safety. Then maybe after all that, you get around to corner. But I wouldn't be good with that pick.
Here's the thing, man. It's nothing against Will Johnson as a player. You don't take a cornerback with the number 7 overall pick after you just, like you mentioned, paid someone $36 million in free agency. I've been a part of you. I think you take the best football player available. And I don't think cornerback's not a position in need. And Will Johnson, I can guarantee you, if he's on the board, is not the best player available when the Jets selected number 7 overall. So for me, those are the 2 major things. I don't get why you take a cornerback at 7. Like you mentioned, it's not a position of need. I really don't want a defensive player in general, unless the unlikelihood of Abdul Carter falling or Travis Hunter. And Matt, did you see the quote from Travis Hunter saying he will, quote, retire if he doesn't play 2 ways? I would love to see that happen. Genuinely, I would love to see Travis Hunter retire, Matt. If a team does not play him 2 ways, what is he going to do? Stream Twitch all day? Come on here.
I don't know what his plan is, right? Like, I don't think that's wise to be putting that out there, but it feels like both him and Shedeur Sanders are coming in with confidence, right? Like, maybe you can make the case that it's a little overconfident, and it probably is, but they have a belief that they are, the best player and should be drafted number 1 overall. And, he did it successfully at Colorado. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it at the NFL, but clearly a talented guy. I'm calling his bluff. I don't think he's going to actually retire.
Yeah, there's no way this guy's going to retire, because I can assure you he's not going to play 2 ways full time at the NFL level. Here's the hard part, though. I think he's going to play not full time 2 ways, but he's going to kind of play a position full time, which I think will be. It will depend on the team. For example, like, the tough thing is if he goes to the Patriots, right, he's going to be a wide receiver. If he goes to the Browns, he's going to be a wide receiver. If he goes to a team like the unlikelihood he goes to the Titans, he might be a cornerback. The thing is, it's easier to blend in on offense if you play cornerback full time and you have an offensive package. It's harder to kind of get in there on defense if you're full-time wide receiver and then you come in for 5-10 plays a game as a boundary corner. So ultimately, I don't think this guy's retiring by any means, and I just think this is all smoke and hoping that some team is willing to play him both ways at the NFL level. Appreciate you all tuning in. Make sure you smash that like button and hit subscribe. Appreciate all your support as always. Matt and Connor here with you. Wednesday edition of NY Flight Jets Talk. And Matt, a trend I want to get into overall from the top 30 visits, and I wrote this up for JetsXFactor.com the other day, is Derek Harmon, Michael Williams, and now Darius Alexander from Toledo, all been in the building for the Jets for official top 30 visits. This hints at a bit of a trend for me. All these late round defensive linemen coming in hints to me that potentially they're looking to trade down from the number 7 overall pick late into the first round, or let's say they make their pick at 7 and trade back up into the end of the first round from 42. Could you potentially see the Jets trying to make a move, and what would you prefer, a trade down from 7 or a trade up from 42?
I'd rather do the trade down from 7 and kind of just get more capital to address all the needs that we went through and talking about. But the guys that they are looking at, to me, are back end of the first round or early second round guys. I don't know if I want to give up like whatever it would take to get back into the first round to grab someone, but this could also just be like due diligence on guys who maybe have an outside chance of being there at 42. I personally think it's a stretch, but you never know. There's guys every year. I say this every year, but there's like 45 players who are going in the first round every year. And obviously there's only 32 picks. So some really talented guys are going to go in round 2. So you never know, but the Jets are taking all their top 30 visits as they should. And they're looking at guys who would fill a major need on the defensive line.
100%. And I would say I prefer a trade up from 42 because if you're going to take one of these players, I think you should take Michael Williams off the edge from Georgia again. I think at that point, if you want to trade back and take Derek Harmon or trade back into the first to take Derek Harmon or Darius Alexander, you might as well just take Mason Graham at number 7 overall if he's still there. I just like Michael Williams. I think edge is a really sneaky position and need for the Jets. I mean, Will McDonald, who I think had an overrated season overall for this team, struggled immensely against the run, was a productive pass rusher, yes, particularly on third down. Jermaine Johnson, we don't know what he's going to look like coming off an Achilles. And then you got Rashad Weaver, Eric Watts, Braden McGregor, names I don't think people even, names that legit football fans who follow the NFL closely don't even know who those players are. So, I think edge is a massive under-the-radar need for this team. I think if you can get a traitsy type guy like Michael Williams in the building to the point where it's not like Shamar Stewart, where there was no production and you're gambling purely on traits. There was solid production, but he has the traits to really elevate his game to the next level. That's where I am overall on Michael Williams. I just think, Matt, I think it would be really, really solid if this team could take like a Tyler Warren with the number 7 overall pick and then trade back in, and then you get Michael Williams. You address 2 of your most significant needs in the first round. To me, if you have to give up 2 fourth-round picks, so be it. I think you filled 2 massive voids, and you got 2 blue-chip starters in the building.
Yeah, well, if they do that route, it's hard to be upset with the player that they're going to come away with, right? We can argue about whether it's worth it or not for the draft capital, but I think you'd be getting 2 really good players. So that's a good start to getting this team back on track.
1,000%, Matt. Appreciate you hopping on with me. Pre-recorded, guys, because I'm on at the AFC East Roundtable. You're seeing this after I finished my appearance at the AFC East Roundtable, but currently, as we're wrapping up this recording, it's 6:53 p.m. here on the East Coast. So appreciate you all watching here on this Wednesday evening. You guys are the best. Appreciate your support as always. And Matt, thanks so much as always for sparing some time with us. You got any final thoughts here before we end the show?
Thank you so much for having me. Look, next week, big draft preview, one day out.
Oh, yeah. There we go. I didn't even think of that because, Matt, I have Cole Thompson on every week leading up to the draft, and I had him on last week, and I was just thinking, because it's just like routine at this point, every Saturday, and I was thinking, holy, we only have like one more, after it was last week, so we only have like one more appearance on the show until the actual draft, and then we recap the draft, and then we say goodbye until next draft season. So I'm happy that I didn't think draft season dragged a little. Like, I think at this point last year, I was like, oh my God, can the draft come today? Could the draft come today? Could the draft come today? I don't think I am at that point right now. I want the draft to happen 1,000%, but it's not to the point where it's like, I've been talking about this for 4 months every single day. I just want to get it over with. I want the draft, and I don't want the draft to be like last year. I want it to be like last year in the sense of, the first round pick the Jets made, a very, very solid pick in Olu Fashanu, but I was sick during the draft. It was not fun. So, Matt, I was actually thinking about attending the Talkin' Jets event, but 2 things. One, it was my dad's birthday, and number 2, I was sick. So I was like, I 2 strikes. I don't know if I could do it, but hey, if you guys are home for the draft, Matt, you're doing all 3 days again, right? For Talking Jets.
We will be live all 3 days. It's a marathon. We absolutely love it, but it's a long 3 days, but we have a blast. So make sure to come hang out with us.
That's awesome. So tune into Matt's show, Talking Jets, for all 3 days of the 2025 NFL Draft. I'll be hanging out with Jake Asman and the Next Gen Jets crew in New York City at Clinton Hall for the draft. So if you're there, make sure you come by and say what's up. Be there representing the Jets. Like I said, though, appreciate all your support. As always, that'll do it for us here on this Wednesday evening. He's Matt O'Leary, and I am your host, Connor Long, signing off. JTS.